Well, hello, artist! How are you doing today? I'm so happy that you're here. You are listening to the Art Life Conversations podcast, episode number 1. Woo! I am so excited about this and nervous, but excited more than anything to be here with you. My name is Kelly Folsom, and for those of you who don't know me, I am an artist. If you're new to me, I am an artist and I am a teacher, and I'm also a mentor and coach for artists as well. So I am so excited about this new podcast where we are going to be talking about everything to do with living the life of a working artist. So I have been a full-time working artist since 2011. I decided whenever I was 28 years old to go to college for art in 2007, and I had no idea what I was in for on this journey, but it has been so incredible and amazing, and I could have never imagined where this thing called art could take me. So, why am I doing this? I am doing this because I have a vision for all of you and for myself, and my mission and vision is to be able to share authentically and honestly with all of you about being an artist, what it takes to be an artist, the challenges that we face, the joys, the wins, everything that we go through on the journey of being an artist. And my highest hope for you is that you are able to reach your full potential as an artist in this life, because I believe that artists are incredibly important on this planet and we need more of us here. So my goal with this podcast is just to encourage you, to inspire you, perhaps even to motivate you. Also, just to let you know that the things that you may be thinking or feeling on your art journey, that you are not alone in those things. And so I'm going to be sharing very openly and honestly a lot of experiences from my own journey over the last 10 years in hopes, and what I've learned from them, in hopes of helping you on your journey so that you know that you will get through this. And hopefully I will be able to give you some tools and techniques that I have used over the last 10 years that have served me really, really well. All right, I'm going to take a little sip of my tea here before we dive in to episode number 1. The first episode is like, man, what the heck? What are we going to talk about? Because just to start the first episode is like, wow, there's so much pressure even on the first episode of what on earth should I start with first? And honestly, I think it's like the art journey in general. You just have to dive in, get started, put one foot in front of the other, and move forward. So just to let you know, this podcast, I will be doing this once a week, and these will be short and sweet, you guys. And for those of you who know me, you know that girl likes to talk, right? So, but these are going to be short and sweet, and each week we'll just be addressing a specific topic or challenge or experience along this thing called the art life. Okay, so today, what I really wanted to just dive right on in, no small talk with this girl. I wanted to dive right on into getting out of your comfort zone and really getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Because one thing that I know for sure about being an artist from day one, the start of my real journey as an artist, was that I had to embrace being uncomfortable. And that's not always easy, right? But it is the price that we have to pay if we want to be a successful artist and if we really want to reach our full potential artistically. So I've got this those of you who know me too, you know that I love a good quote. I'm a quote girl. And I've got this new book that I just love, and it's called It Always Seems Impossible Until It's Done by Catherine and Ross Petras. Motivation for Dreamers and Doers. And I just love this little book. Of course, you can grab this on Amazon or anywhere for like $10. But the quote this morning that I read says, "If you aren't in over your head, how do you know how tall you are?" By T.S. Eliot. Isn't that clever? I love that. And so true, too. So since I started my art journey back in 2005, I decided that I did want to be an artist, that is what I wanted to do with my life. And ever since the day that I made that decision, it has been a series of choices and decisions that I've had to make that have been very uncomfortable, things that I really was not comfortable doing, starting with just getting some art lessons, okay? And maybe you can relate to that. But for me, I loved doing art as a kid. Whenever I was growing up, I just always was drawn to making things, and specifically drawing in two-dimensional art. And so it had always been a private thing for me. Now, once I would get, my little masterpiece done or whatever, I would then share it with the world. And share it with my world at the time, which was my family, right? Or maybe the school that I was at. And but up until the age of, say, 26 was whenever I decided, first of all, I was like, what the heck am I going to do with my life? And I came to, the realization that art was always my true love, and it was really always the thing that I was most interested in. And so that's where my journey started, was just deciding to start to pursue art making. And I had never had art classes growing up in school, in high school, or anything like that. And so the very first uncomfortable decision for me was getting help, getting instruction. Because I had just been self-taught. I bought books, at stores like Hobby Lobby or Michael's. And I would just copy, the drawings out of those books. I had a love for representational art. And so at the time I thought, well, I'm going to be a portrait artist. I've always loved drawing people's portraits. And now it's so funny because I find portrait art incredibly boring. So again, you just never know where this road is going to take you. But the first choice I had to make was that I couldn't be the artist. I couldn't reach my full potential, even though I didn't know what that was at the time, as an artist, if I didn't get some instruction. I had taken myself as far as I could on the self-taught journey. And what would end up happening to me is I would get very stifled, and I would get very, very frustrated that I was not progressing artistically. And so I knew, okay, well, I've got to figure out, I've got to meet some other artists. I've got to get some help. I've got to get some art instruction. So that was my first uncomfortable decision, right? And I have to tell you, so at the time I was married. I'm not married anymore, but at the time I was married, and we were traveling for his job around the country, and we would be in these different cities and different towns for a few months. And so what I started doing was just, looking up on, gosh, I don't even know if I had the internet, but I just started trying to find, were there art classes that I could attend. And I was still very shy at the time, and so all of this was incredibly uncomfortable for me. But I would find it, the first class I found was in North Attleboro, Massachusetts, at a little art museum there. And they had the list of supplies, and I bought all the supplies. I signed up for a painting class and a drawing class. And just stepping foot into that classroom of strangers. How is the teacher going to be? How were the other students? How good were the other students going to be? Was I about to find out that I really suck as an artist? And so all of these fears, all of these thoughts that were going through my head at the time. And what I have learned as an artist is that, over time, you overcome that discomfort one action at a time. And I think the word action is really, really key there. So you cannot get to where you want to be as an artist as long as you are staying in your comfort zone and in safety, right? So you have to put yourself in situations that is going to help you progress and help you grow. And guess what? It's not going to feel good whenever you do it. It's going to feel very uncomfortable, right? So you want to kind of become the discomfort diva, in order to really reach your full potential as an artist. So that was the very first decision that I made along the journey, was recognizing I need to get some instruction. I need some mentorship. I need some teaching. I need to learn about art. I didn't know anything about art. I didn't even know that artists were out there, making a living as an artist. I had never stepped foot into an art museum. All I knew was that I liked making art and I wanted to be this thing called an artist, and I had no clue whatsoever what that entailed. But I knew that I couldn't get there doing what I was currently doing, right? So that's what we all have to do. And I have to tell you a secret, that never goes away. It never changes, right? So as we're growing, as we're progressing, we are just we continuously are putting ourselves in these situations where we have to get out of our comfort zones, and we have to feel uncomfortable, and then we start getting comfortable with that thing. And now that's not so scary anymore, and we start growing and we start improving and we start getting all of this fulfillment and meaning from doing that. And I really think that that's where the fulfillment and meaning comes from, is from us getting out of our comfort zone and facing that fear and facing those challenges on a regular basis. Okay, so I don't think courage is like, oh, I feel no fear at all, or I'm never uncomfortable. I think that is not true. I think courage is really feeling that fear, of course, as the famous Susan Jeffers said, right? Feeling the fear and doing it anyway. I think that is courage. Stepping out of your comfort zone when maybe you are embarrassed to go to an in-person class. Maybe it is uncomfortable for you to sign up for instruction or to enroll in a course that will benefit you. Maybe it's even uncomfortable to go to an art museum or to spend money flying across the country to go to the Met or to go see real art, because that will really enrich your life. So there's whatever that next right action is for you. I guarantee you it probably feels really uncomfortable. But that is the secret to your success. That is the price that you have to pay to have success as an artist, is identifying, number one, what is that next right action that you need to take. And I want you to really think about that right now. Just take a moment, because we always know what it is. We always know what the next right action is. So just take a minute, and I'm going to take a little sip of my tea here. And once you've identified, this is the next right step that I need to take, then you just have to take it. And you can't expect that it's going to feel comfortable, right? And you can't expect that it's all going to go right and that it's going to be, oh, so fun and and happy and woo, I had such a great time. Now, obviously, we are going to have some of that. We're going to have joy in the experience as well. But I do think that there's this misconception of, I would say more look at it like expect that it's going to be about 50-50. That maybe 50% of the time you are going to just really have a fantastic experience and have all this feel happy and have all of this joy. And maybe the other 50% of the time you're going to maybe feel huge discomfort. Maybe you're going to embarrass yourself sometimes. Hello, I am the queen of embarrassing myself. I have embarrassed myself I don't know how many times over the last 13, 14 years on this art life journey. It happens, okay? Failure happens. So that I would say just go into it expecting that it's going to be about 50-50. The more that we expect it to always be like, lollipops and leprechauns and rainbows, and hey, I am a huge freaking optimist. Ask anybody that knows me, I am such an optimist, but I have definitely learned on this journey that as Shakespeare said, expectations is the root of all disappointment. So you want to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for a more painful experience or a more uncomfortable experience by not being realistic, right? By not expecting that sometimes, the thing that you're about to do is going to go really great and be a lot of fun and be really enjoyable and be super successful. And also sometimes it may not work out that way. So I think setting those realistic expectations is also a good thing to go into it with. So now, of course, with all of the years that I've had being an artist and some of the wisdom and maturity that I've been able to gain, hard won over the last, 14 years, somewhere in there, has been to, I actually sometimes will ask myself, like, what possibly could go wrong here, not to scare myself, but to, again, just to have those realistic expectations of, preparing myself for, any possible disappointment that may come from this experience. Even stepping up to the easel to paint a painting, I will mentally prepare myself for, hey, this painting may not work out today. I may not just be on my 100% game today, and that's okay. It happens. This is life. We're human. We are not perfect, and everything is not going to always go perfectly. So, going back to the T.S. Eliot quote of how can you know how tall you are if you're not in over your head? I love that quote. Even doing this right now, starting my podcast, right? I am in over my head. So I constantly am putting myself in situations where I am in over my head. And I can tell you that is the only way that I have been able to really far exceed my wildest dreams of being an artist, to exceed far beyond what I ever thought would be possible. Because where you are right now, it's really difficult, and where I am right now, it's very difficult to project into the future and to be able to know where all of this is going, right? So you have to just basically trust in the process. Trust that if you will get out of your comfort zone, if you will do the next right action, and that may be signing up for a class, it may be going to your studio and painting that painting, or doing that. Maybe the next right action is just, hey, I need to break out my sketchbook and I need to sketch out that idea, instead of stalling on it forever, right? So the other thing I feel is that we have to get out of our little bubble, right? We have to, put ourselves out into the real world, right? Whether this is an in-person class, an online class, whether this is making new art friends or joining an arts organization, the longer that you just keep everything hidden, and artists love to hide. We love to hide. We love to be in private, But really, the most gains that you're going to make on this artistic journey is by not hiding and by not staying in private. So today, I would love for you to just contemplate, what is it that you can do? What is the next right action for you to not hide, to not stay in private, and to get out of your comfort zone? Okay, and just know that it is going to be uncomfortable, and that's okay. Like, nothing bad's going to happen, right? So my very first class that I went to, I was so filled, with like this fear and, all those thoughts that we have in our head of like, oh my gosh, how is this going to go? Is everybody else going to be better than me? And if they are, like, really great, that's fantastic. You kind of want them to be better than you because then you can learn from them. But, in the moment, we tend to really give into fear and insecurity, and we don't want to be the worst in the room, right? And we don't want to look foolish, and we don't want to look like an imposter and all that kind of stuff. So my first class that I ever took, I felt all of these things, so much so that it was very hard for me to even concentrate on learning, right? Because my head was just filled with all those things. But that's okay. We have to start where we are. And the more times that we do that, the more times that you get yourself out of that comfort zone, the more comfortable you get being uncomfortable, right? Which sounds like really weird. But the more times that you put yourself in an uncomfortable position and you find out, oh, well, okay, I did that. I made it through, and it really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Maybe it didn't go as great as I fantasized it to be, but it wasn't as bad as I had feared it would be, So the more times that you do that, the more comfortable you get putting yourself in that position. And that's really where the growth and the massive progress will come in for you. Okay, my art friends. So today, take some time, think about how you can get out of your comfort zone. I want you to ask yourself what the next right action is for you to take, and does it feel uncomfortable? If it does, then you know that you should probably do it. If it doesn't feel uncomfortable, it's really not going to push you forward that much in your progress. Okay, everyone, artists, I love you all so much. Please leave me feedback. Let me know what you thought about this podcast. Be sure to follow the podcast and leave a review. And if you liked this podcast, then of course you can hop over to Art Life with Kelly, KELLI.com, and check out all of any of the courses and instruction that I have to offer there, in case any of that serves you as well. All right, everyone, I'm wishing you happy painting or happy art making, and I'll see you at the next podcast. Bye.